Everybody, and welcome to all of our friends in the Bay Area, Reno, Tahoe, and all of our guests from other brokerages that are joining us today. We're very excited to have David Knox on the call today. But before we get to David, I'm going to kick it over to Michael Mann, who's going to give us a brief recap on the SBA loan situation. Michael?
Good morning, everybody. Apologize for the lengthy emails over the weekend, but as everybody can see, that this is a moving target and changing dramatically with every passing day, every passing hour. The key items in those emails were, if you haven't already applied for the SBA PPP program, please do so as soon as possible. Everything is pointing to the direction that this week there will be an added reappropriation of funding from the federal government into the PPP program, but due to the extensive backlog in the pipeline, those monies are anticipated to go within a matter of days, if not hours. So it's important that not only you apply, but as we stated in the email, apply through multiple SBA lenders if you can, just to increase your odds. You can only get acceptance by the PPP program one time. So you don't have to worry about getting double funding or anything along this line, but there is no limitation as to how many lenders you can apply to, and strongly encourage everyone to do so. There was a question over the weekend if you haven't had a closing yet this year as to how you prove that you were in business as of February 15th. And you can simply send a copy of your real estate license. Attach that to the application is perfectly fine. You can, any business expenses that you've had as a real estate agent, you could copy those and scan those in as part of the application, at least for credibly, in terms of what I'm referring to. And that would be perfectly fine to show that you were actively in business as of February 15th. But, with credibly, it's pretty low key, is they just need something that just shows that you were active and engaged in real estate. If you've had a closing, then definitely the commission check, copy of your commission check receipt is fine to prove that you were in business as of February 15th. But, the key thing is get the applications in. It's the best thing in the world to do to protect yourself and make sure that hopefully you can get some sort of benefit from the PPP program.
Thanks, Michael.
That's it.
In addition to that, I had a lot of questions over the weekend. Should I be looking at this as well as the unemployment benefits that are coming out under PUA? And the answer is yes, you should be applying for both. However, the California EDD is not set up to take your application for the unemployment portion. Unemployment will be retroactive back to mid-February, I believe. And you can start applying for that on Tuesday, April 28th, and we'll remind you of that as it gets closer. With that, I'm going to kick it over to Steve.
Hey, Matthew,
yeah, Michael.
One other thing, Nevada is operating pretty much the same way that California is with the unemployment. Nothing has been firmly released as of yet. We've got a number of sales associates on board with us in Nevada. And as soon as we get the actual factual information, we'll make sure to get that distributed to everybody.
That's great. Thanks, Michael. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to Steve to intro our guest today, David. Steve?
Yes, okay. Good morning, Corcoran Global Living. I am really excited to introduce this next speaker. He has been a premier trainer for, David, I don't want to hate you too much, but for at least as long as I've been in the business. And we are excited to be able to bring him on board as part of our organization and as a great resource for you. So this morning he is going to give a presentation and then also talk about the fact that he is now going to be available to you in terms of his website and all of his videos and products. So with that, David, take it away.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's a pleasure to be on this call. It's a pleasure to be with you, Michael Mann, and working with you. It's been a pleasure to see the entire management team, the technology, all the things that you have put in. So for all of you agents, that are tuning in know that Corcoran Global Living has a back-end support management technology that's really impressive. We had to step up our game and talk to our program in the Ukraine and make some changes to match you guys. So it's been really a lot of fun. And I've been in the real estate business, well, for a long time, since the early 70s out of college. I've been doing training and seminars for 30 years, 3,500 live seminars all across the United States and the world. And 20 years ago, I started doing video training. 10 years ago, we started doing it online. And I've used the analogy that we're kind of the Netflix of real estate training. We produce videos, we go on location, we interview speakers, and we watch other realtors live and record their on-location listing and sales presentations. And I've been through a lot of in this industry, as many of you have, but clearly this crisis has been very different, and a lot of different views on where we're going to go and how we're going to end up. But there's certain fundamental principles that apply all the time. And as an analogy, I might use, I've raced sports cars for years. I raced against Paul Newman back in the 80s. I was an instructor for the Porsche Club, and I have racetracks where I have raced 1,000 laps, maybe more. I have memorized every corner, every straight, turn in, apex, you name it, everything. And I can drive it from memory. And as many of you in the real estate business, you can do the business from memory. You list, you sell, you negotiate, you prospect. You just know how to do it. And all of a sudden, we're off the racetrack. And I feel like I'm off on a windy country road going up Highway 74 at night, and I've never seen the road before. But I bring with me all the skills of driving. I still know how to brake, turn in, apex, accelerate. I know I have all those skills. All of you have all those skills of real estate. The problem is you're looking one corner at a time. Long-term planning in this business is about 10 minutes. I've been in the middle of a Zoom call and something changes. Minnesota extends its shelter in place. So those things will be happening continually. But the good news is if you are looking ahead and you're paying attention to what's in front of you, you're going to be the first to respond. The other thing is, I have said for years, as the real estate agent, real estate industry faces challenges, it's the same for all of us. It's not like you've got a problem and they don't. Now, having said that, New York is probably the strictest in terms of shelter in place. They can't show, they can't do anything. Whereas California and Nevada, I believe, are a little bit more relaxed. So anyway, please, whatever I say today, I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to take you through a short presentation that I'm calling Thrive Responsibly. And then I'm going to talk about our online training and show you how that can help you. But please, anything that I say today, will you please take it in context with your local association, board, state rules. I can't keep up with them because I'm doing this in all states and countries, and things change. So it is up to you to be responsible for your own safety, for your client's safety, be compassionate to those people who are been drastically affected by this. And I want to focus on what can you do in this market? And one of the things that agents are questioning is it okay? Is it okay to be productive in this? Is it okay to attempt to list and sell in this market? And the best way I can address that, maybe I'll ask all of you, do you think that grocery stores are being opportunistic by being open and selling groceries? Of course not. I've got a little Yorkshire Terrier somewhere around here, ran out of food. And I went, oh my gosh, I wonder if PetSmart is open here in Rancho Mirage, California. Yes, they were. Yay. I don't see that as opportunistic. I thank you. I needed new glasses, so UPS delivered it. I need new headphones. Apple delivered it. So there are so many services for which we are grateful. And I think all of you need to take a look at what you do as realtors that people will be grateful for you to help them. There are certain buyers and sellers that absolutely must buy and sell in this market, and their personal moving situation transcends the crisis in context, but it transcends it. They must do that. So you will be essential to those people. Now, clearly, if you look at the bell curve of buyers and sellers, are there people who maybe want to hold off, buyers who want to slow down and maybe not show, sellers who are uncomfortable with people in their home? Yes, that's going to happen. But we have narrowed down the group of prospects today to people who absolutely must buy and must sell. So kind of the unintended consequence of all of this is that buyers and sellers are qualifying themselves as to who's motivated. So just want to take you through some ideas on this market. So maybe I'll just stop. Can you see this first slide, you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. By the way, Zoom's going to be the buzzword of this crisis. No question about that. For people who haven't heard about Zoom, there's very few who haven't now. Everybody's doing it. And when I get on these Zoom calls, I take a look at all the different people and how they're backlit and improperly framed. And I was critiquing a number of them, and they just said, oh, would you do a video on how to set up a Zoom video conference? I said, sure. So last weekend, I did the whole thing right here. This is where I am right now. I've got the key light up to the left, the blue Yeti microphone. I've got an umbrella behind me. Now, the good news is I'm in the video business, so I do have some professional lighting. But I have a video in our training called Set Up a Video Conference Space, and I'll show you how to do this. When I talk to realtors, the questions I ask right now, as I do anytime there's a crisis in the world, is do you still believe people are going to buy and sell? And I think the answer is, yeah, they are. Not all of them. There's a few that have decided to pull out and wait. Question is, do you want to stay in the real estate business? I think the answer to that, if you're on the Zoom call, the answer clearly is yes. And remember this, in crisis like this, more people leave the business than do buyers and sellers. So the ratio between transactions and agents goes up. It's better. There's more people. And then the question is, well, what changes must I make to survive? What skills do you have to learn? Well, clearly moving virtual. And we've been doing that forever anyway. So if we take a look at how this business has been conducted, we've been prospecting by text and phone, et cetera. Virtual tours, 3D tours, photos. So the showing up to that certain point has all been virtual anyway. It is the physical showing that has been most adversely affected in many states. And again, as I say this, it's different everywhere and I can't keep track of it. But I will say this, in New York, it's probably the most punitive. They can't leave their house. There is no agents going in any homes ever, period. So you want to talk about a challenging situation. New York's got it the hardest. Contracts signed electronically, deposits electronically, inspections and appraisals have been physical. And depending on where you are, I'm hearing that they are allowing inspectors and appraisals to go in. I was talking to Bob Wolf, one of our top presenters, and he said he had one appraiser do the whole thing with photos. Closing has been done remote. So one of our members, a gentleman sent this to me and said, you're free to share this if you'd like, and all of you can make your own. And basically it's a PDF flyer that he gives to buyers and sellers and said, look, we can help you sell safely. We talk about virtual consultations, valuations, signatures, et cetera, and how they do careful showings. Again, subject to whether you can do it at all. And it gives people confidence that yes, business can still go on, however, very, very differently. I want to quote Michael Mann, who said to me a couple of weeks ago, he said, from adversity comes ingenuity. And as Michael, you said, this is the time to learn new skills, to adapt to this market, and then implement those things. And I thought it was a great comment you made that, entrepreneurs, we seem to figure things out no matter what. If there's a buyer, seller, and agent, and they want to come together, we'll figure out a way to do it, and we are doing it. And it's interesting, a lot of this presentation, it goes out of date about every third day because people figure it out and they move on to the next thing. But my message to all of us is don't let a temporary situation cause permanent damage. That even goes to your physical health. All of my gyms are closed. Well, I've got exercise bands here. I have a steel card jack in my garage, and I'm using that to do Romanian deadlifts and squats. So find a way to continue your life. When I look at the market, maybe this is the green line, how it would have been. Business rises in the spring and the summer, and then it tapers off. Maybe it's going to look like this. Maybe in different markets it tapers off, it slows down. But the people who wanted to buy and sell didn't stop wanting to buy and sell, but they may delay it. So what's going to happen, in my opinion, you push on one end of the pillow, it comes up the other end, and these people are going to be buyers and sellers a bit later on. So at the end of the year, your income may actually be more because the other agents have left the business, and it may be delayed, and they'll buy later on in the summer or whatever. So you kind of take a look at your own market and see how accurate you think that is. So, but the first thing we've got to do in this market as realtors, you've got to get yourself to be okay. Because if you're negative, if you're afraid, you're upset, you're anxious, you're going to transmit that to your clients and you'll be of no value. I was asked to do a seminar on, how to stay sane in this crisis and find inner peace. So here are some things that I wrote down that helped me and have helped other people. Number one, be grateful for the blessings you do have. In fact, let's just do this. Let's take 30 seconds and write down some things for which we are grateful. I've not done my gratitude, so I'm going to write some down now. Okay, I hope you all came up with some. I got a feeling that you guys came up with a lot. I just wrote down health. I'm grateful for that. I'm healthy, happy, and grateful for my girlfriend in the United Kingdom. She and I had a 3.5-hour virtual dinner, and she showed me how to make Yorkshire pudding live, and we both took them out of the oven at the same time. It was kind of fun. I'm grateful for this Zoom and all the attendees. I'm grateful for a nice sunny day. And I hope all of you can continue on finding things for which you are grateful. Next, limit your exposure to the media. Doesn't mean be ignorant, stupid, head in the sand. I'm not suggesting that extreme. But I think all of us can decide how much of it we need. I have sworn off television news because I'm tired of people yelling at each other. It doesn't improve my peace of mind. So I have chosen to just set that aside. Yeah, I'll click on the little news deal in my browser bar and I'll take a peek, see what's going on, take a quick look. I've got friends of mine that are addicted to the news and they'll fill me in. Every few days they'll say, hey, anything new? No, okay, great, I'll move on. You must let go of what you cannot control. There was a little poem I quoted in a video a while ago that said, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I think all of us have to say, well, what can I control? Fear is effective if it causes you to change things in your control. So the self-distancing, the quarantining, the taking care of yourself and your health. As Deepak Chopra said, and by the way, if you want to see a fun video by him, you can Google that. And he said about the coronavirus, if you don't have it, don't get it. If you do have it, don't give it. And I thought it was pretty simple advice. So decide what you control and what you can't. And there's so many things outside of our control. We got to let go of it, whether it's the market, it's the economy, whatever. What you can focus on is you, your health, your husbands, wives, family, customers, clients, prospects. Focus on what you can do. Focus on present moment. As I mentioned, long-term planning is about an hour now, maybe less. So what can you do this moment? Right now you're focused, you're on this Zoom. Focus on this. If you're finding yourself looking at your cell phone and checking email, you're not in the present moment. Stay where you are. You've got to show sensitivity and compassion in your messaging. I have seen some of the messages that people put out there. You know, you say, can you see yourself quarantined in this house? You know, it's cute. It's cute between realtors, but it's probably not a good idea when your customers and clients see it. Exercise and meditation have always been the fundamental ways for human beings to achieve inner peace. For those of you who do exercise, keep it up. For those of you who don't, start, even if it's a 20-minute walk. Do something. Meditation. For those of you who've done it, you know the value of it. If you haven't, all it is, it's not that mystical. You sit down in a comfortable place, uncross your arms and your ankles, and you sit quietly. And then you breathe in for a 6 count and breathe out. And just focus on your breathing for a few minutes. 5 minutes will just get you to relax. Find somebody who could use your help and help them out and connect with people a lot. I was invited into, saw on Facebook, this woman, Deanne Golden, good friend and client of mine, posted on Facebook a virtual happy hour for her office. And I clicked on it and it was still live. And she, oh, look who we have on the call. We have David Knox on the call. So we tuned in. It was a lot of fun. So we have a lot of people doing virtual Zoom meetings. So stay connected with each other. Maybe you guys do a virtual sales meeting like you're doing now. Keep that up. Have an accountability partner. It's nice to have somebody to check in with every morning and say, hey, Bev, what are you going to do today? I'm going to call, 10 past clients, write 5 thank you notes. What are you going to do? I'm going to update my pre-listing package. Keep a schedule. You've got to be disciplined. It is so easy to just, lie around in your sweatpants and about 1:30 you go, well, I didn't do much today. Maybe I better get moving. So, if whatever time your day starts, do your miracle morning, brush your teeth, coffee, whatever, and then get dressed for business. Do your workout, dress, and then just decide you're at work. If you can separate business space from personal, great. If you have a business only space, it makes it much easier. For me, it's just a desk. So, and at the end, by the way, know when to stop. Train yourself, and we're going to help you with that in a minute. In fact, maybe I'll switch to that now. Corcoran Global Living is investing in you, and I'm going to show it right now. This is the Corcoran Global Living training site specifically for you, and you're going to get instructions on how to log in through the Corcoran one.login. I'm sorry, I don't have the words in front of me, but they'll tell you a little bit about it. But there'll be a tile in the website. I understand later on today it'll be available. And then you just log into the site, click on the tile, and we'll be taken you'll be taken right here. So again, kind of like the Netflix of real estate, we have 576 videos in here, and and just like Netflix, instead of looking for, you know, drama and comedy, you're listing, selling. And as the market changed, I realized that having someone try to go through 500 and some videos and figure out what would apply today, it would be a lot easier to just create a curriculum. So I did. And if you click here, today's market, I've got 23 videos that I believe apply and give you the skills for this market. The first 4 in the list were shot during this coronavirus. So they are specific and in context with what's going on. The third one down is setting up a video conference space. And you'll also see a checklist. By the way, can you see the checklist on that? Or do I have to stop? Pardon?
It's small print, but it's there.
Oh, you can see, okay, because Zoom does different kind of screen sharing. I don't need you to see the print, but anyway, this is a checklist for setting up a Zoom conference, starting with dressing appropriately to camera, framing, audio, etc., things like that. I also have, this is kind of cool, if you go back to, sorry to be jumping around, quick tip 59 is how to host a Zoom conference. Now, it's not a tutorial, just kind of an overview, but I have here, I'll open the PDF. This is a PDF document that I created for you to give to your clients. I also have it in Word because this stuff changes daily. But the idea is you can email this to a client before you do a buyer counseling interview or a listing presentation or any other presentation. And speaking of that, you can find videos clicking on listing. And I have 6 categories: pre-listing, first listing call, counseling, presentation, etc. And one of the things you'll find, this is Sam Miller. He talks about his pre-listing process. Tammy Holmes talks about her process. It's really powerful. The Kaylor Bortnick team that does millions of dollars worth of listings and sales in Kansas City, you'll see them actually on location. And when you click on downloads, we have charts, checklists, scripts, all kinds of things that you can use in your day-to-day business. Scripts and dialogues. For example, we have, I'm going to do a search on listing questions. So you guys, when you go on a listing, the most important part is the listening presentation. And this is a document, listing questions with checklist. These are all the questions that I have put together for following the seller's motivation, their current home, reason, motivation, destination, all the typical questions that you need to be asking a seller. Really cool one is expectations of an agent. They'll tell you how to get the listing if you ask those questions. And then a simple checklist on page 4. So these are tools you can use to improve your business. Over the weekend, I created what we call an action plan. And I won't get into too much detail on this, but an action plan consists of 3 things: videos, tasks, and actions. And I created one that focuses on today's market. I created it specifically for this, getting into attitude and mindset. And by the way, the top 2 were recorded during this coronavirus. The others were recorded months or years ago. So they're not specific to this, but they present the skills you would need in a time like this. Videos and tasks on managing your current clients, calling all your sellers, researching price trends, etc., connecting with prospects. So this is something that your company can clone, personalize, and have you enrolled in. So that's something that your management team can take a look at. So Steve, I'm just going to see if there's anything. You've been in here, you understand the system, so I might just unmute you, you're unmuted, and see what else you'd like me to show this group as it relates to the online training.
Is there any way you could just take a few seconds and dig into the action plans and how they can track the videos they've watched and that process?
I'm trying to think. Since I'm in your site and people haven't logged in yet, there'll be a watched indicator on the video so that agents can see that they've watched. There'll be a little red bar in the bottom that shows how far they've gone through it. So that will show up okay. When they tune into action plans. Yeah, right now we don't have you enrolled in an action plan. I don't think. Yeah. Oh, yes, we do. Steve, that's right. We did a sample on you. So when an agent logs in, clicks on his or her My Action Plan, this is the Corcoran New Agent Fast Start. So an agent will click on this, and we just started this so we can see we tested it out. These are some videos. These are some tasks. So when an agent goes in, they can click on a video. It opens a window to play. And when they're done, that will update. And if they want to do a task, and they get their professional photo taken, they can type, something in that it's done or not, and it'll just update to the date it was completed. So it's a great two-way kind of coaching plan between managers and agents to take them through the videos and the steps required, in this case, to be a new agent and getting started. It starts pretty basic, like how to pronounce realtor, get photos and things like that. And then if we take a look at other action plans, we have one for rising stars. And this is for people who are at, I hate to use an income number because it's different for everybody, but maybe you're at 200, 300, 400 grand and you want to go to 500, 600, 700 or whatever. And then those plans get into business planning, income goals, time for assistance, probably getting some kind of help, sphere of influence, marketing, et cetera, things like that. So all skills and tasks for somebody who's clearly been in the business for some time and has developed a good business.
Yeah, that's great. I really think that for you guys out there, I think this would be a great tool so you can actually follow a plan and keep yourself going by keeping track of what you're doing. And if you want to, you can have your manager involved to keep you accountable. So it's a really great process.
Hey, David, could you
Yes.
Speak a little bit, because I know that every market's a little different, and I know one example you mentioned earlier was a top producing group in Kansas City, and I think some people might think that our market is substantially different than the Kansas City market. Do you want to kind of speak to that a little bit? And my other follow up from our call the other day was just if you could speak a little bit to the caliber of some of these mega producers that are in some of your videos.
Well, thank you. First of all, the challenge we face is, I've been doing this for 30 years, 50 states, 8 provinces, 12 countries, and everybody will say our market is different. And to a great respect, they're right. Markets are different, but people are the same. So anytime we present a video, I'm well aware of people thinking, will this work in my market? And clearly some may not. And so I think people have to look for what does work and what doesn't. But my goal forever as a training person is to present skills that work with people, not market specific. Because it goes out of date and it's very different. So thank you for asking. I think as agents go through that, they can say, well, I'm in the resort market, so I can't do this, or I'm in the first time home buyer market, that won't work. So I think people can take that into context. The agents that we bring on board, we have a wide range. We have people that are, in the middle, because if you do all high producers, people just go, oh, I could never do that. But Bob Wolf, one of the top agents in America, does a couple million in GCI, but he does it in real basic ways. He does it in ways that anyone could do. It's not ironically, even though his production is advanced, his methods are not that advanced. He returns phone calls. He sends out handwritten thank you notes. Venus Morse Griffin in Augusta, Georgia, we're the home of the Masters. She started off at $20,000 a year, discovered her husband had a double life. He was sent to prison. She had 6 kids to feed and she had no money and she was in debt. And she tells the story how she went from $20,000 a year to, I think last year she did $2 million in GCI. Then she'll take you through how she does that for sale by owners, open houses, sphere of influence.
And to be clear, David, there may be some on the call that don't understand that GCI is gross commission income, not sales volume. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're talking actual income. You're right. So we feature agents at all different levels. I try to focus on the skills that are universally applicable everywhere. Now, nothing's 100%. So when you watch a video, take a look at how could I use this in my market? So the skill of a listing presentation is the same, whether you're on Zoom, whether you're face-to-face. So follow the skills on that. Jack Cotton, for those of you, obviously I know the markets that you guys are in. Jack Cotton, one of the top luxury market guys, a really classy guy operating out of Cape Cod. And I wrote a book on luxury market. We feature him heavily in our training and I'm honored to have him in. But if you're working luxury market or if you want to break into it, Jack is a great, great guy to help you get into that.
I think there's nothing better than listening to practitioners that are super successful talk about how they do it.
Yeah, my philosophy of training has always been 5 minutes of show me is worth 5 hours of tell me. It's just so much easier. Speaking of that, I will let all of you know, there is a video series that I shot 22 years ago called The Mentor Series 2. It's old. It's 22 years old, but we hired actors and actresses to play buyers and sellers. I played the role of the agent, and we did role plays. Yes, when you get in there, you go, wow, this stuff's old, but I will promise you that as a new agent, you will hear the best dialogue I've ever presented. As an experienced agent, some of the more advanced ones, like on commission, the best commission objection video I have ever done is the Mentor Series 08-3, MS 08-3. It is, you watch that video, and I promise you the dialogue is perfect today as it was 22 years ago. But out of the 500 videos, obviously, we've been shooting 300 of them in high definition over recent years. So anything else I can share in that before I wrap up with my PowerPoint presentation?
No, I think we're good.
Hearing no further questions, I just want to take you back to some things that you can do now. You want to extend your current listing expiration dates to make sure that it gets you past this whenever you think it's going to be. Know your market stats for when you talk to your buyers. Create physical and digital pre-listing, listing, and CMAs. And by the way, I want to make sometimes old is new again, a physical pre-listing package. You'll be the only person in the state to do it. Put together a nice gift bag, maybe put in hand sanitizer, Clorox wipes, a handwritten note, information on you and your company, have it couriered and put on their front steps. You'll be the only one that does it. Then when you do the pre-listing interview with the sellers, you can say, hey, go out to your front steps and go pick it up. Maybe it's got M&M peanut, microwave popcorn. You figure it out. Do something that's consistent with your personality. You will be the only one that does it. Listing presentation, probably going to be doing it digital, but why not have it printed out so people can touch it? And you handwrite on it with blue ink so it's personalized and done that way. Obviously learning to use Zoom, I think pretty much everybody's good with that. But you need to be the trusted professional. So if you haven't, you need to contact all of your sellers right now. The media is going to influence millions at a time. You can only do one. So my basic advice on calling sellers is it's going to be a service call, not a sales call. Call them up and just say, you know, Mr. Seller, I just wanted to check in with you and see how you're doing. Your home's been on the market for however long. And I'm just calling on two things. Number one, I just want to see how you guys are holding up. How are you doing? How are you? And then I want to listen for how would you guys like to proceed? And then pretty much whatever they say, your response is okay. And be compassionate to that. You want to find out, is a conditional move urgent? Do they want to proceed with showing? Some do, some don't. This is your time to find out. I will say this, if you want to just touch on a little bit of sales technique. If your sellers say to you, we're really uncomfortable having people in our home, we kind of want to hold off, can we put it on hold for a while? Your answer is, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if that's your pleasure, we're going to respect that. But let me ask you this question. Your home has been on the market, it's been exposed, and I'm just reading that. Your home has already been exposed to people. If I get a call from somebody who's seen your home, seen the photos, maybe even driven by, and they like your home, and they call me, what would you like me to do? And just put it as a kind, gentle, open question. And they might say, well, if they've driven by and they really like it, well, yeah, give me a call. We'll see what we can do. And then you decide whether you want to do a screen share showing, virtual showing. And in New York, what they're doing, the seller is holding their iPhone, doing a FaceTime, and the buyer's on the FaceTime. And you have the listing agent, selling agent, and both buyer and seller, and they go through a showing. So figure out a way to do that. Next, call your buyers. The oldest rule in the world with buyers is to find somebody who wants to buy now, and buy now from you. So when you call your buyers and ask, how would you like to proceed? And if they want to buy, then you take them through your virtual showing plan and how you work it. And the same thing, if the buyers say to you, well, we're going to hold off for a while, then I respect that. But let me ask you this, Mr. and Ms. Buyer, if a home comes on the market, because I'm watching the MLS every day, if a home comes on the market in your price range, in your location, neighborhood, and I think it's one that you would have liked, what would you like me to do? And you know what they're going to say? They're going to go, well, okay, you can give me a call. And then after that, it may proceed to a showing. And one other thing, we can do a longer version of this getting into skill, but we have other things to do. But I do want to say this is important. If there was ever a time in your career where it's important and you have the time to call your sphere of influence. Now is the time. They're home in most cases. They're reachable. They're probably open to a conversation, and it's a very simple service call. It's not a sales call. Before this virus, my advice would be you call a seller. Mr. Seller, how are you doing? How do you like your house? Thank you so much for purchasing from me. How's everything going with you guys? And a question I would have asked that as a sales question is, by the way, how much longer do you plan to stay in your current home? That may come across as a bit tone deaf today. So instead, I would call them up and just say, how are you doing? How are you holding up in the middle of all this? And then just shut up and listen. And then it's the closest I might get to a sales call would be to say, Mr. Ms. Seller, now that you've spent all this time in your home, clearly you're in touch with what you like and dislike about it. How is your home working for you? And they might say, it's working great. We're so glad we bought it from you. We learned we could live here forever. They're going to go, you know what? We've grown to hate this place and we need to either burn it down or sell it. Pardon the humor. And they may just say, you know, one of the things we've learned is that we definitely do want to move. Oh, you do? Well, what's your timing on that? And then let them drive. So check and call past customers and clients first, then call your sphere of influence. And finally, any prospects that are coming to you today, clearly they have self-identified that they're ready to buy now, move now. And obviously want to help them. So respond quickly. Go through the curriculum in the online training on today's market. And if you have any questions, I'm David at davidknox.com. I'm really, really happy to help you out. And I'm going to turn it back over to all of you, see if there's any questions.
Thanks, David. This is great. We've had a lot of positive comments come in, both through the chat and through the Q&A.
Oh, good.
Including Lisa saying this is perfect, exactly what she needed right now. So that's good to hear. And thank you. So always enjoy that. We have a couple more minutes left. And so what I want to do is I'd like to kick it over to Steve to kind of talk a little bit about some of the training we got going on for the rest of the week. I will point out, David alluded to it earlier in the call, but sometime around noon today, when you go to one login, you'll see a tile there for the David Knox platform. And so that will be alive and available to you sometime around noon today. Steve's going to be sending out an intro video from David. It kind of recaps a little bit of this and what's going on right now. And it is available to all of you. And probably the most important question on everyone's mind is how much is this going to cost me? And it's costing us something, but it's not costing you anything. It only costs you if you don't take advantage of it. So Steve, tell us about the training.
Yeah, so this actually plays right into what we've got planned this week. Busy week. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we're doing a shelter-in-place business plan, which is very closely related to what David just presented. We've got the CRM training in the middle of the week. And then on Friday, Melody and her team are doing a virtual open house training for everybody. And so I think all these things should really play into keeping involved in your business, keeping productive, staying positive, and giving you the tools so that you can actually be doing business now if that's possible for you, but more importantly, hit the ground running when we start to get back to work.
The presentation, I was just going to say, the presentation that Melody's got is couldn't be better timed and is very useful. And I highly recommend everybody tune into that because there's going to be some great tools for you to succeed in this marketplace.
And the CRM training, I just point out, that's not a rehash of the former training. There's substantial new functionality in that platform. So definitely check that out. I know it's on the calendar, but it's one day for the Bay Area, which is solely focused on the CRM and the updates to it. And there's a separate session for our Reno Tahoe friends because it's kind of a reintroduction to Tribus as well as the CRM. So definitely check those out. We're committed as a team to making sure that you guys all are in the best position possible to win this market once we get out on the other end. And so part of it is motivational, part of it is tool set, part of it is training, part of it is helping you guys double down with your sphere. And so that's what we're focused on, laser focused on right now. And I don't see any other questions or any other comments from the panelists. David, do you have anything else you want to say to us? Oh, now you're on mute, David. Sorry. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. Audio is better if I'm unmuted. In closing, I would just say I'm grateful for working with all of you and for all the agents listening. Be grateful that you're with a full service company that cares about you. There's so many agents in this country. They're just driving around in their car, paying $1 a month, doing something. They have no services, no support, no management, no leadership, no nothing. And those people, I don't know how they're going to survive. I don't know how they survived before. 60% of NAR last year sold either one or fewer homes. And so a lot of them are gone. But right now, there are people who need your help. And they need professionals like you. They need a leadership like you have. So this is the time, and I don't want it to come across as opportunistic, but after every crisis, some businesses get better, they grow. And you might as well do that, because the act of you growing is axiomatic. You're given to another human being. People are asking for and seeking your help, and they want to buy, they want to sell. So consider yourself essential to those people who want to move, help them out. And on the other side, we'll all say, how did you survive that? Well, you're going to be busier after this than you were probably before. So have some fun, enjoy some time off with your family, train yourself, get ready, and move forward after this all. Move forward now and afterwards.
Great. Well, thanks, David, for joining us today. Really appreciate it, and appreciate everybody. Yeah.
One other thing with regard to what Randall was saying about Melody's presentation this week, on virtual showings and everything. And that is, have everybody please, pay attention to their email later this week, because with that program, we are rolling out a whole new virtual tour opportunity through Melody and Tyler. And I think everybody will be extremely impressed with that. And it is a program that definitely should help us elevate the vision and scope of how our sales associates promote their properties right now at this shelter in time orders that are in place.
Excellent. That's absolutely right. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll touch base with you soon.
Thanks, David.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Thank you very much. Good to see you all. Good to see you, Michael.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, if anything I can do for Michael, give me a call.